Welcome back to NFL Live, where we've got updates on some key wide receivers. George Pickens of the Cowboys expected to get the franchise tag before the March 3rd deadline. That'll keep him in Dallas at least another year, and they work on a long-term deal. Tyreek Hill is a free agent for the first time after being released this week by the Dolphins. Hill played in only 4 games this past season after dislocating his knee in Week 4. Turns 32 this weekend. And Mike Evans will return for a 13th NFL season in 2026 after an injury-plagued season saw him play a career-low 8 games. Evans currently a free agent and turns 33 in August. I want to go back, though, to George Pickens. RC, how difficult do you think getting a long-term – we ask this about the Cowboys and somebody every year. How challenging is it going to be to get a long-term deal done with Pickens?
I mean, are you going to be able to get Tracy Morgan to stick to the script when he comes on later? Because that's about how difficult I think this is going to be. What I know is this. The Dallas Cowboys are going to franchise George Pickens. But George Pickens' agent, David Mulligetta, once famously told me, I'm never taking $9 on 10, and most of the time I want 11. And that's exactly how George Pickens will approach this deal. Not like he's the 1B, not like he's an elite 2, but like he's the number 1 wide receiver on this team. And so Jerry will not have the opportunity in this sense to say we don't need the agent, because they will need the agent. George Pickens went out and proved how well he can play. He kept his nose clean away from some of the antics that we saw in Pittsburgh. And so now we'll see if he's able to get the money that he's earned.
Well, look, we always try to stick to the script in football and talk about the game on the grass. Look, this thing is the boost your earning potential. And that's what George Pickens did this year. He boosted it in a way where he is going to be the number 1 receiver for somebody if he's not getting number 1 receiver money in Dallas, and rightfully so. Like, he came from Pittsburgh. We saw the potential. RC went on record saying this dude had more talent than most of everybody in the NFL, and he put it on display this year. He was a big part of what Dallas did offensively. Dak loves him. We saw Dak at the Pro Bowl. He talked about we got to get George Pickens back. So I don't think – I'm with you, RC. And let me let America know something. When RC sitting like this and doing this, and he goes, something about to be hard. Something about to be hard. Like something is going to be very difficult for somebody to do, or he finna crash out on somebody. So look, this may become a very contentious negotiation. Yeah. Because George Pickens increased his earnings potential, and we know who his agent is, and we know the value, first and foremost, of a number 1 wide receiver and how teams look at that in this modern football.
Talent never in question with George Pickens, and he put it all together this past year. Career highs in catches, yards, and touchdowns. We will obviously continue to monitor that situation throughout the offseason. Cowboys have made changes on the defensive side. Matt Eberflus out as defensive coordinator. Christian Parker in. Parker, most recently the Eagles passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach. Here's what he had to say about his plans for the Dallas defense.
You want to have your core principles and foundational beliefs, but as you kind of move forward in the process, what do your guys do well? How can you put good players in highlighted positions? How can you create one-on-ones for certain guys? How you can protect certain guys? If we can win on blitzes on a running back, then we're going to blitz a lot. If we got good man-to-man corners, we're going to play man. If we have guys that are better with zone vision, we're going to play more zone. So, you want to build a package that has diversity and scheme, and then you want to, tailor it to the players.
Nowhere to go but up for the Cowboys defense. They allowed the most points per game of any team in the league this past season, and the most the Cowboys have allowed in any season since 1960, which was the first year of their existence. Third down defense also the worst in the NFL. So, Marcus, a lot of work to be done to fix this defense. How should the Cowboys approach this offseason? Yeah.
Let me be serious, all right? Because I think it's more.
Didn't like the research notes.
The research notes were awful. Okay, I didn't expect that, so I had to recover from that. Christian Parker has a lot on his hands, and first and foremost, this offseason is the most important part for his defense. It's about acquiring personnel that can execute the scheme that he talked about. It's about making sure that you build this pass rush. We know what this league is about. We know it's no coincidence that the teams we saw in the last games and in the playoffs, they were getting after the quarterback and they were making plays from a defensive standpoint. So that is what he's going to have to try to build. I think you have a centerpiece there with what they were able to do with Quinnen Williams. I think you have an opportunity for DeMarion Overshawn to come back and be a budding player that we saw a lot of potential, but the secondary has to get fixed. And I'll let RC lean into that. But more importantly, you have to feel like you have the right personnel in order to execute all of those things that Christian Parker said. So this will be about Jerry. This will be about Will McClay. It'll be about Steven. It'll be about that brass making sure that they get the personnel. I think Max Crosby, if in any way they can acquire him, I think that should be on the table. And I think Tyreek Woolen should be on the table from Seattle as well. Those are two players that I think would change immediately the identity of this offense. And you talk about pairing Max Crosby alongside with Quinnen Williams, that is the potential to be a dominant front when you start talking about the way that you have to play football now.
I tell you what, Graz, if this team could add Reek Woolen and Max Crosby, the difference in talent of this roster immediately changes and increases. And if Jerry Jones is willing to be that aggressive, I believe that's something that he should also do. I had a conversation with Jerry. For some reason, he really likes me, and I really like him as well. We couldn't be more different. But Jerry Jones was telling me that he felt he put this defense in a bad position last year. He said he was trying to recreate the former head coach defensive genius that was experienced when he hired Matt Eberflus, when he hired Mike Zimmer. And he said he wanted to go away from that. He wanted to really dive deep into the interviews, and that's why he came up with Christian Parker. He wanted that sort of enthusiasm. He wanted that sort of young energy and also a creative mind. Now, what's going to have to happen is he's going to have to understand he doesn't have the same pieces that you had in Philadelphia, where you could get after the quarterback with 4, could bring simulated pressures, adding Nakobe Dean, and sometimes having some pressure from the back end. You played a very vanilla defense from a secondary and coverage standpoint in Philadelphia. I don't believe you have the roster to do that right now in Dallas.
RC Graz, I was thinking about something, as you said, RC, which is why I always love doing TV with you. I think Schottenheimer changed the way that Jerry thinks about going about a championship. And I know that's saying a lot from a coach that has been in his first year. But the aggressive nature in which he played with, the way he was able to put pieces together from that side of the football, the year that Dak Prescott had under a first-year head coach that was calling plays, there is a feel of a reinvigoration around Dallas. And usually we attribute that to the players, but this is attributed to the head coach. I thought Schottenheimer did a phenomenal job. We saw him navigate real-life tragedy. We saw him navigate football. And now from a defensive standpoint, I think that in line with what Jerry told you, RC, is a direct correlation between what Schottenheimer brought to this football team. Young, enthusiastic, a different way of playing and a different approach, and it may pay dividends for them sooner rather than later.
Yeah, good reviews on Brian Schottenheimer after year 1 out of Dallas. They just need some more players to fix that defense. We have more coming your way on NFL Live. Tracy Morgan will be here in studio. He's a former high school running back, and he had some surprising news to share with us on his familial ancestry.
Who was the sweetest?
Man, I wish I was in the studio, man.
Tony Dorsett, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Tracy had 5 daddies.
Bro, it was crazy, dog. Crazy, dog.
We can ask him about all kinds of stuff, who he thinks the best running back is, how he compared as a high school running back. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am joined today by Ryan Clark and Marcus Spears. So let's get right to it, gentlemen. New on NFL Live, according to our Adam Schefter, the Rams are promoting pass game coordinator Nate Scheelhaase to offensive coordinator, making quarterbacks coach Dave Ragone the new co-offensive coordinator / QB coach. Scheelhaase interviewed for 5 head coaching jobs during this cycle, but now the final offensive coordinator opening in the league has been filled in a very Rams kind of way. Remember, they also brought in Cliff Kingsbury to join the coaching staff under Sean McVay. So really just kind of a new mix of guys. RC, what do you think of what the Rams are doing out there with the offensive staff?
Well, I think the first thing is that Sean McVay makes it work no matter who it is. And we've seen so many of his assistants move up in Los Angeles and become head coaches. And Nate Schillhouse, who had opportunities to interview for head coaching jobs, seems like the next up. He was the pass game coordinator last year, and we saw what they were able to do with Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, and that group of tight ends. For me, it's also bringing in Cliff Kingsbury. Now you're collecting other great offensive minds, and for me, what that adds is an outside perspective on how other people see you, how they know your tips, your tendencies, and how you can now change from the perception that is had of you outside of the building when someone can say to you, when we prepared for this offense, here is what our defensive staff told us.
RC, I love that. I'm going to go to the opposite side with these coaches. It's guilty by association in a good way. If you're Cliff Kingsbury, why wouldn't you want to come work for Sean McVay and see how a head coach with that tremendous amount of success has been able to sustain it? One, with a veteran quarterback, a team that's changed around him, and also Schillhouse being there, being promoted from within. And Sean McVay, we all know who's the catalyst to this offense and how much success that they've had. So I would want to be a part of a staff for the next step in my journey. Remember, Cliff Kingsbury has been a head coach in this league before and started really well, and it fell off. So I think a lot of this for Sean McVay is not only having more eyes and ears and more experience in the locker room, but it's also for Schillhouse and obviously Cliff Kingsbury to learn from a guy that's doing it at a very high level and have that be a part of your resume when you go into this next phase of trying to become a head coach and run an organization, more so than calling X's and O's, but recognizing how important it is to have all of that other stuff figured out.
Whatever McVay's doing, it's working. 9 NFL seasons so far. He's had 10 or more wins in 7 of them and appeared in 2 Super Bowls. That is one of 21 new offensive coordinators around the league this offseason. Just a monster number. So we want to go through some of the new offensive coordinator quarterback pairings. In Seattle, they brought in Brian Fleury, who has been part of Kyle Shanahan's staff in San Francisco the last several years. Here's what he had to say about his plans for the Super Bowl champions offense.
I do think one of the advantages of taking this job is there is going to be a lot of continuity. I've already started to dive into everything that Clint was doing here last year, and the goal would be to maintain as much of that as possible, but there's also areas where we can supplement that with things that we've developed and done in San Francisco under Kyle that, you know, Clint wasn't there for or maybe didn't implement as much. So it's that's going to be the goal, is to keep as much as we can the same, but I think there's definitely areas we can grow, some different ways we can challenge the players that they should be looking forward to when they get back here.
Swagoo, you want to talk about high expectations. This is a team that just won the Super Bowl. How much pressure is on this guy?
I think it's one of the most pressurized offensive coordinator jobs in the league. I would say the most if it wasn't for Philadelphia. But when you think about this, I love what Fleury said in his interview. He said, we are going to keep some of the things because it's really about committing to making sure that Sam Darnold keeps on this track of being a very high-level quarterback in this league. And there's nowhere to go outside of the Super Bowl but down. So why wouldn't you want to implement some of those very successful things that he's done? But he's also said, I want to put a little bit of my spin and bring some things and nuance to this offense. I think that was the perfect answer. If he would have came in, you, me, and RC, you, me, and RC would have been like, what the hell you mean you're going to change everything? We just watch y'all win a Super Bowl. We just watch y'all go toe-to-toe with the Los Angeles Rams in order to get to a Super Bowl from an offensive standpoint. But I think he made the right correlation and connection between becoming this new offensive coordinator, the progression of Sam Darnold, and also saying we can add some nuance to become even better than we were last year.
And where you become better, Marcus, is the physicality in the run game. And I know that's going to sound crazy because of what we saw Kenneth Walker do down the stretch. But look at the way that this team changed as Kenneth Walker became a priority in this offense, that Kenneth Walker and the run game started to excel. And the one thing the San Francisco 49ers have consistently done is been creative and put the football in Christian McCaffrey's hands in so many different ways, especially in the run. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Brian Fleury can do with that aspect of this team, because one place they struggled during this season was in the red zone. And having a great run game can be the cure for a lot of those ails.
Yeah, Seahawks just 21st in red zone efficiency this past season. They ran it in the red zone at the 5th highest rate. So that is an area where they'll look to improve. In Baltimore, new offensive coordinator is 29-year-old Declan Doyle. He's going to team up with quarterback Lamar Jackson. Doyle talked this week about his expectations for building a championship offense.
We would expect him to be here, and certainly he is voluntary. And so, but it's also, if you want to say that you're going to win a championship, you want to say that you have championship standards and those are your goals and your expectations. Certainly that's going to take work. That's going to take collaboration. That's going to take the beginning of building the relationship with their coaches, other players, starting off this next regime on the right foot.
So a little touchy there. Coaches aren't supposed to pressure guys into showing up for voluntary workouts. But Swagoo, you like the message from the new coordinator?
I love the message. Graz, you and RC know I'm an elephant in the room guy. And if Lamar Jackson ass ain't there in the offseason with a brand new offensive coordinator, we're going to come on during this football season. And the first minute they struggle, we're going to talk about Lamar wasn't there when this coach showed up. I think that's a big move by Declan Doyle. It's establishing respect. It's establishing that I'm the coach and offensive coordinator, but I'm wanting, and my quarterback here, I'm wanting the guy that I've seen do so many tremendous things in this league to be a big part of the success that we have. And I got to reframe something that I said earlier. This will be the most polarizing offensive coordinator job in the league when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens because of who Lamar Jackson is and how this offseason has transpired. But I think that's a statement that he needed to make. Bashadi alluded to it throughout the coaching search. Lamar have his ASS down here when we trying to make this decision and be there in the OTAs. And I think more than anything, Lamar understands this as well. If he wants to win a Super Bowl, if he wants to go deeper into the playoffs and have better performances, it's going to start now and building the rapport with your new offensive coordinator, who I think is ecstatic to work with Lamar Jackson and try to get him to where he hasn't been yet.
Well, speaking of elephants in the room, let's get to the real elephant. Lamar Jackson has more cachet than Declan Doyle. And I'm talking about more cachet than Declan Doyle in the Baltimore Ravens building, in every building around the NFL. And so the word that stands out to me is collaborative, right? Because we gotta get together and work on something that works for Lamar Jackson, something that works for the Baltimore Ravens. He needs to have input, and that's why he needs to be there. Lamar Jackson doesn't need to be in Baltimore in OTAs to get taught how to play football. Lamar Jackson knows how to play football. If you're Declan Doyle, you're getting this job when you were working under Ben Johnson, who's called plays. This is your first time at 29, the same exact age as Lamar Jackson. And so now let's collaborate. Let's work on something that you feel good about and add the things that I've learned working under a genius like Ben Johnson, seeing Caleb Williams ascend, and make this offense as explosive as it can be under the two-time MVP. And so when they get together this offseason, the conversation is going to have to be about what makes us most comfortable, and Lamar Jackson needs to be in Baltimore to have those conversations.
Yeah, those two MVP trophies, but the reason there's a new staff there in Baltimore and John Harbaugh is gone is because they haven't had the playoff success, so we'll see what they can do to fix that. In Tennessee, new head coach Robert Saleh brought in Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator. Daboll has worked with Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart. He's going to work with Cam Ward now, and here's what he had to say about his new quarterback.
Again, we've had some young quarterbacks previously with obviously Josh and Jackson at York, but everybody's different. I don't want to just put him into a particular box. I think the most important thing is to first develop the relationship with the young man. I always like to see the game through the quarterback's eyes. And again, there's going to be mistakes out there that I think he's made on tape previous, and he might have a completely different answer. So that communication is really important. Yeah, I feel comfortable with Cam. His ability to throw the football, his athleticism. Everybody's a little bit different in their drops. Everybody's a little different with their throwing motion. I'm excited to work with this young man.
RC Daboll was coaching the Giants this time last year. They looked at the top quarterbacks in the draft, so he's familiar with Cam Ward's game. How do you think this pairing works?
I think this pairing is going to work really well. When you look at Josh Allen, Daniel Jones having a great year initially under Brian Daboll. And what we saw from Jackson Dart, he's clearly shown, Daboll that is, that he understands how to tutor and help some young quarterbacks come along. And when you look at Cam Ward's tape last year, there are 10 throws on his tape that are absolute dimes that nobody in the league could have done better. There are plays that he makes where he goes above and beyond the X's and O's. And I believe Brian Daboll will be part of this coaching staff and part of the people or part of the group that gets him to take that step and move to the next level as the first overall pick of the draft last year.
I love that, RC. I love that he acknowledged that young quarterbacks are not a monolith. These guys are different. They think different. They see the game different, and the approach will be relationship and collaboration, like you mentioned with Lamar and Declan Doyle, RC. The one thing I like about Brian Daboll, I saw him in college at Alabama as an offense coordinator. You saw him build Josh Allen from where he was and took a huge step there. You mentioned Daniel Jones and Jackson Dart, and he was highly scrutinized for how Jackson Dart usage was, and we talked about the flux that they were in as far as the job there. But this seems like something that's going to be consistent and you can grow with. And I believe Cam Ward is the type of quarterback that get coaches head coaching jobs. As long as he can bring the best out of Cam Ward, because he was in a bad situation last year, and this dude played and competed like he was playing to go to the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
And trying to win a Super Bowl every single week. I think that's the first thing you recognize about Cam Ward, the seriousness in which he takes his job. And I think Brian Daboll approaches it that same way. And there may be times, because with both of these dudes' personalities, that they butt heads. But I think it's going to be the type of butt head to get everybody better as opposed to going separate ways.
And also, too, if you just have any time, you need to go check out the coaching staff of the Tennessee Titans. It's the baldest coaching staff of all time. Nobody has hair.
Yeah. Why they ain't hired me for D-line then?
Yeah, Saleh has a type, it looks like, in putting his coaching staff together.
For sure,
hey, big head.
They're leaning into it down there. We got a lot more. Excited to be joined now on NFL Live by actor, comedian, and New York Giants fan, Tracy Morgan. You have a new show coming out. It's called The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. What do the people need to know about it?
It's a great show. It's funny, and we want America to just put their phones down and watch some good old-fashioned TV. That was our thought.
Yeah?
When we made it, yeah.
All right, well, we'll put the phones down and check it out. I guess you could probably watch it on the phone, though, like if you had the phone, right?
You could watch it on the phone, too.
Yeah, so it works perfect.
Absolutely.
We got Marcus Spears and Ryan Clark here. They got some questions for you. Marcus, what do you got?
First of all, I want to know how you get them waves to go sideways like that.
Well, they say
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, they say you got to do 12 years in prison to get them going to the side. They call these the Farrakhan's. These are the Farrakhan's, baby. Holla at me.
Let's get to it, man. Oh, my God. I knew this was going to be like this. I knew it was going to be like this. Look, Trace, you playing Reggie Dinkins. You're in a new show centered around football, man. How has that experience been, like, bringing you closer to the game? I know you're a football fan, but how has that experience been playing a character as a football player, former football player?
Well, in high school, I was a tailback, almost all city. I ran a 4.5 40 as a junior. And I ran a 21 point in the 200 and a 10.6 in the 100. So it's just bringing back those days. But this is really an ode to Pete Rose, who never made the Hall of Fame. I got caught gambling. He got caught gambling. That man went to his grave not making the Hall of Fame. And he was one of the greatest ball players in the world. But they was angry at him because he went ghetto with it and used the dugout phone to call his bookie.
Can't do it.
Gotta do it.
Can't do it. They got rules.
You don't do that.
Hey, Tracy. Tracy, bro, we've seen you. I mean, it's all the way from Hustle Man, 30 Rock, Saturday Night Live, now Reggie Dinkins. But we know that you're a true football player. You even talked about some close relationship you have with Tony Dorsett. If you were a running back in the league right now, would you be more O.J. Anderson or would you be more Saquon Barkley?
Nah, Saquon, because Saquon is closer to my uncle Barry Sanders. His rookie year, he was the second
Barry
coming
Sanders is your
of
uncle
Barry.
too?
Barry is the greatest ball player, and Lawrence Taylor said that. He's the greatest running back ever. And Bo Jackson said recently, today I just saw it, Bo Jackson said he loved watching Barry Sanders because he was a human joystick.
Yeah, he was.
So Barry, but I don't think running backs are valued like that in football no more. Vegas wants to see the long ball.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see the long ball. The running back isn't valued like the Walter Paytons and the Tony Dorsetts and the Wilbert Montgomerys like that no more, or the Earl Campbells. That's when football was football.
Yeah.
Well, Trace, I want to let everybody know that you don't know who your dad is between Wilbur Montgomery and Tony Dorsett. And then me and RC just found out that Barry Sanders is your uncle. And David Ruffin. I don't know how David Ruffin got in there.
My aunt Robin said David is your father. David is your father. Dave, they call him Dave. Dave is your father.
We got to be able to trust. We got to be able to trust Aunt Robin on these kinds of things.
Robin knew.
Like, why is she going to lie about something like that?
Robin knew because Robin was with my mother when they was going to Weight Watchers when she met Dave.
Right. So,
oh my God.
So she was there for the whole thing.
I look just like him. Look at my profile. Yeah. Just like David Ruffin.
All right, I got you. I can see it. Hey, you want to talk some football? What's it like being a Giants fan right now? You fired up? You talk about the new
Giants. This is going to be an interesting season.
Yeah?
We're going to get one more receiver, and we good. Listen, Jackson Dart is the man.
Yeah?
What Scatterboo is running like Mark Bavaro, man. Yeah. Scatterboo is running just like Mark Bavaro. Take the whole team to bring him down, and we good after that. Look at Dart. Oh! Neighbors is coming back too.
Bro.
Neighbors is coming back too. Let me tell you something. I love my Giants. Listen, if you play for any New York team, you are a gladiator.
All right.
You're a gladiator. I don't deal with the Jets. The Nets, the Jets, and the Mets. That means you got low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. I only mess with dynasties.
RC, you got something.
Okay, so I have a question then.
You can't say that.
I got a question then.
I'm not playing for the Jets.
He can say whatever he wants.
They got to buy me out.
Clearly.
As long as they keep paying him.
Huh?
Hey, so Tracy, here's my next question though. Right? You talked about dynasties. The Knicks got drummed by Detroit.
You see,
this is supposed to be where they come out and they show everybody that
we gonna forget about last year when Boston did the same thing and they got knocked out in the second round. We don't want to talk about that. We're not going to talk basketball.
Jason Tatum blew his Achilles on Father's Day.
We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. We ain't going to talk about basketball now. When the playoffs come, we will be there, or we will be square. The Knicks, that's my team, because that's New York City, baby. That's where King Kong died, and we told Godzilla, you next. That's where the Son of Sam was born. That's where they left the gun and took the cannolis.
I don't know.
I think that was across the river in Jersey.
Oh, my God.
But no. Sonny got it on the belt.
Oh, yeah,
He would have lived if they had Easy Pass.
Yeah, we're going to get into the Godfather a little bit later on. Swagger, you had something.
Easy Pass.
I love the Godfather.
Easy Pass would have saved him. Yeah, you don't even have to slow down.
Save Sonny.
Swagger, you had something.
I know exactly why me and RC was called to be on this show today.
Yeah.
Because this man is pure gold, bro. Trace, let's 1 second, Trace.
Oh my God.
Let's try to be serious for 1 second.
Okay.
1 second, Trace. All right. You got this show.
Try.
All right, you paying homage to you said Pete Rose.
Right.
And you playing a running back, right? So you look across the league, and who is the best running back in football right now?
I was at the Super Bowl. I saw the best running. I saw the best. Who was that? They got MVP.
Ken Walker.
Ken Walker was nice.
Yeah,
I seen him. He was all over the field.
Yeah, big night.
But that running back is the best in the league today.
He was that day. That's
but
for
that
sure.
Super Bowl was about Cardi B and her boyfriend and Bad Bunny.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't about the game.
It's really all anybody's been talking about since.
Everybody talking about Cardi B and her boyfriend breaking up.
Yep.
And Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
And you know, I love Latin people. Latin is my thing. My wife, my lady, is Dominican. That's my lady. She's Dominican.
So you enjoyed the halftime
She loved
show?
it. She had a great time.
All right, good. It was
she
pretty
called me
entertaining.
a Papi Chulo.
All right, then.
Papi Chulo, I love you. I love you too, baby.
Before we get you out of here, we had one thing we wanted to ask you about that has nothing to do with football.
Okay.
We want to know about your fish tank.
Ooh,
This is legendary.
No, I got a fish tank in every room in my mansion. I got a 20,000-gallon shark tank in the backyard.
Obviously.
With 14 sharks.
Yeah. All right, so you got sharks. There's other dangerous fish or like
I like
snails.
the worst things that could possibly kill me.
Right.
I have a moray eel. I have a school of piranha in my pool table down in the basement.
How much work is it to feed all these things?
Well, I have a team that comes. And they feed them. I don't get involved.
You don't feed the sharks yourself?
No.
No, yeah.
The good life.
RC, what do you got before we get out of here?
Tracy, did you ever think you would be rich enough to say things like, I like to have things that could kill me?
Listen, I was born in the projects. I was surrounded by things that could kill me.
Things that'll kill
you know how many crackheads was around us? Uncles and aunts that smoke crack, they could kill me. They could kill me.
We're going to get out of here before they cancel us. Tracy, thanks for coming. It's great to see you. Good luck with the new show, The Fall and Rise of Reggie.
Reggie!
All right, Reggie Deacon.
The Combine in Indianapolis. Our own Field Yates has 5 defensive backs in the first round of his latest mock draft, headlined by Ohio State's Caleb Downs going number 5 to the Giants. Field also has the Rams picking 2 defensive backs in the first round alone, both from Tennessee, teammates Jermod McCoy and Colton Hood. So, RC, give us a little scouting report on some of these guys, starting with Caleb Downs.
Yeah, Caleb Downs is one of my favorite players in this entire draft. Was a transfer from Alabama, played all over the field at Ohio State. He puts me in the mind of a guy like Jalen Petrie. He can play the nickel, play the dime, be the down safety, also play the middle of the field. He's shown ball skills, but also he's an amazing tackler in the open field, and that's exactly what you need in today's game. And so I look forward to seeing how fast he runs, how explosive that he is. And also, Mansour Delane. You know I got to put an LSU guy in there anytime that we had one. And only 1 year after transferring from Virginia Tech, showed an ability to get the football. Extremely sticky coverage. Puts you in the mindset of a guy like Darius Slay, and was such a high-level competitor for this LSU defense last year. I look for somebody to draft him high. He walks in as a day 1 starter. And I heard you mention the name Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. This dude is so good. He's projected to go in the first round, and he ain't even played last year. He's a press corner. He's physical. 4 interceptions in 2024. He's an elite level player, and I would have loved to see him get the opportunity in 2025 because, in my opinion, the film from the year before puts him as a top 10 late in the first round. And Brandon Cisse, he's looking to continue sort of a tradition we're now seeing with South Carolina defensive backs. We know that J.C. Horn is one of the best in all the league. Nick Emenward was a finalist for the Rookie of the Year. And Brandon Cisse looks to continue that tradition. I would have liked to see him get the football a little bit more than we saw and be a more physical tackler. He has all the tools, all the measurables, but he's going to have to come out and show early on in training camp that he could be one of those dudes.
Lots of first-round talent at the defensive back positions. When we come back on NFL, Saquon Barkley made even more history in 2025. He moved into the top 5 list of most 50-yard rushing touchdowns in his career. He had 2 this season and has 12 now for his career. And you see there, tied with Derrick Henry and Jim Brown, and behind only Adrian Peterson and Hall of Famer Barry Sanders. And Saquon Barkley joins the show now. That's a pretty cool list to be on with the names like that. You're joining us. Yeah, that's pretty good. How do you feel when you see that?
I will be honest. That definitely makes me smile. Growing up, been a big fan of Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson and Jim Brown, and training and going against and competing against Derrick for a very long time too. So, anytime you're on a list with those names, it means you're doing something right. But there's always more work to be done.
No doubt. You're joining us on behalf of the Red Cross. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm excited for this partnership. Excited to, challenge people to go out there and donate blood. It's something that, we're really not educated on. I really wasn't educated on it myself until I got involved with this partnership. And it's really 60 minutes of your time, and donating blood can do so much good. You can help people with cancer, with trauma, with sickle cell. The list goes on and on. So being here with and partnering up with Red Cross and just all the good work that they do, and just challenging people to go out there and make a change.
Absolutely. Excellent message there. And hopefully, somebody hears it and follows up. We want to talk a little football. You got some good news the Eagles did yesterday. Lane Johnson telling us that he's going to come back and play another season. How much does he mean to your offense?
It means so much. I didn't even know that was announced. Maybe I'm naive. I kind of just assumed he was coming back. But hearing that and knowing that he's going to be back on our roster and our team, and knowing what he brings, not only as a player, as a leader, of course, but when you have him on the field, I think he's the best player in the NFL, definitely the best player in our team. And we have so much talent on our team. And, there's stats out there of who we are and what the Eagles are when he's on the field and when he's not. So having him back is going to be important to what we're trying to accomplish this year.
He is going to have a different position coach, though. One big change that is happening there. Jeff Stoutland, the longtime offensive line coach, leaving the organization. What has he meant to you and the run game in the time you've been there?
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here for 2 years and getting to work with Stout. Man, I've learned so much. He's such a great coach. Obviously, he's super smart. I would say the biggest thing, there's so many positive things I could talk about in his accolades and all the players that he's developed, but he genuinely cares about players. He genuinely cares about getting players better. I honestly can't say that I've had that with every coach in my 8 to 9 years in NFL. But no matter if you're an all-pro right tackle, or you're a guy from Australia that never played football before, or you're a 7th-round draft pick or undrafted free agent, he's going to treat you the same way and develop you and try to get you prepared to go out there on the football field, play at a high level. So we're definitely going to miss out for sure.
Remarkable run he had there in Philadelphia. You have a new offensive coordinator in Sean Mannion. Have you had a chance yet to talk to him, to meet him and talk to him?
Yeah, I got to meet him yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm on vacation right now, so I really don't even know what day we are. But I got to meet and talk to him, and got to meet a lot of the new offensive coaches. We really didn't get to talk X's and O's. Going to follow up when I get back. But it was cool. It was cool getting to meet him. I'm super excited. From everything that I've been told from Howie and Mr. Laurie and Nick, this is something that is going to be really important for our team, and he's going to bring a new flavor and a new energy and new swagger that I'm excited for.
Now, at the risk of maybe stirring up trouble, I wanted to play something for you. Your star wide receiver, A.J. Brown, was on a Patriots podcast with Gronk and Julian Edelman the other day. I think we have the sound, right? Did we want to play that? Let's hear it.
Just remember, we're all Patriots. You know that, right?
Are you going to be a Patriot? Are you going to be a Patriot? Do you want to be a Patriot? I'm trolling.
What should we make of that?
That's my first time seeing that, to be honest. I will say this. I do not want to speak for A.J. Brown. Love him as a teammate, as a brother. But he is a huge Patriot fan. He is one of those guys. Growing up, I was a Jets fan. My dad has a Jets tattoo. I was able to kind of, move on now when I got to NFL. But he's always been a big Patriots fan. And I think this year, before Dallas, Tom Brady was throwing him the ball. So for him, that was like he was like a kid in a candy store. But so that wink is just all fun and games. But I will give the inside scoop. AJ Brown is a big Patriots fan.
All right. Well, I guess that's good to know. That doesn't mean Eagles fans should be panicked or anything like that because he loves the Patriots.
No, I don't think so at all.
Saquon Barkley, thanks for taking time out of your vacation to join us on NFL Live. Thanks to all of you for watching NFL Live. We'll be back next